Let's get some reaction now from Laura Coates. She's a CNN legal analyst and a former federal prosecutor. She joins me here in studio. Also, we have with us by phone journalist and author Carl Bernstein. Laura, let me start with you. Your reaction to this letter from FBI Director Comey basically saying, never mind.
Well, my initial reaction, of course, is if it could have been resolved so quickly, why did you not wait to give the letter in the first place? It said, here's the answer you're looking for already. And it's just a precedent that Comey continues to set, because although this recent email probe may be over, Jake, well, he hasn't essentially said, I am no longer going to insert myself into politics any longer. What if more emails come out before the inauguration and, in fact, she is elected president? This is an ongoing thing that is going to be capitalized on by the Trump campaign and going forward for her opponents if she does takes office, because the whole point of this is essentially saying we're not going to have a court of law decide. It's going to be the court of public opinion. And the court of public opinion is exhausted at the prospect of impeachment proceedings or anything else. And so I think his impact is going to be far more lasting and won't really be resolved by his continuous letters to Congress where he says, you know, it's a big never mind, it's a big no problem here, because we're going to maybe still have more emails that may come out during the course of investigations that aren't yet closed, that involve either her colleagues or herself.
Well, FBI Director Comey's not here to defend himself. Let me play devil's advocate here. If FBI Director Comey came out in July and spoke as freely as he did in that press conference as well as to Congress because he felt that it was transparency was important for people to understand the integrity of his decision. And that was the same thing that motivated him 2 Fridays ago when he issued that letter. Hey, I testified under oath that there was that all the evidence has been reviewed. Suddenly we have new information, and that makes that statement no longer true. Let me clarify with new information. And then once again, he is doing something in the name, in his mind, of transparency and integrity. Could you not see it through that lens and maybe not have the tougher conclusion that you reached?
Well, as a former public servant, I think that those viewpoints are selfish and antithetical to public service, right? The idea that one would have to confirm or defend one's own objectivity in a position where he has a 10-year tenure, outlasting any president over even 2 terms, the onus was not on him to try to prove his objectivity. The onus was on him to actually adhere to the proper protocol that's in place by the people that he serves, the greater United States, but more specifically, the Department of Justice. And he already had instruction from Loretta Lynch, the sitting Attorney General, and the former AG, Eric Holder, who put into place protocols to say, we don't want to, one, allow our viewpoints to interfere with anyone's political motivation, but more importantly, we don't comment on ongoing investigations. So the idea to do so, I understand his selfish motivation to say, I'd like to make sure that everybody here knows that I'm on the up and up, but it didn't do the service that he needed to do as a public servant.
Let me go to Carl Bernstein on the phone. The idea that this email, the letter that was released two Fridays ago, that these emails wouldn't have even been mentioned to Congress unless it was something serious, was definitely basically conventional wisdom. He would never do this unless it really could throw a wrench into the conclusion reached in July. That's what I believe a lot of people concluded. That doesn't seem to be the case.
It doesn't seem to be the case. At the same time, Republicans that I've talked to already don't seem willing to let go of this bone, that the dogs are still going to be chewing at this, that they're furious now at Comey, and that there is no sign that I can see that those who have pursued this matter in Congress, the Republicans, are going to let go of this, particularly because of the element of Hillary Clinton's closest aide, Huma Abedin, and just the optics and exploitation of the notion that Anthony Weiner is involved in this. In terms of the election itself, Hillary Clinton has a chance here to perhaps not put this behind her, but if she wins the election particularly, to maybe talk to the American people about how this could be put behind her if she is the president-elect for the good of the country. And she's got an opportunity here that she did not have 2 hours ago.
Carl, forgive me for bringing it up, but I was watching All the President's Men a couple days ago, and I was thinking about the fact that Donald Trump and others in his campaign have been saying that this is worse than Watergate. You and I have not had an opportunity to speak since the story broke 2 Fridays ago. Is this worse than Watergate?
No, not in the least. And the server has always been about Hillary Clinton's awful judgment. It was inexcusable what she did. At the same time, Watergate was about a criminal president of the United States who presided over a criminal presidency from the time he came to office to the day he left. 48 people were found guilty or pleaded guilty in Watergate. 30-something of them went to jail. It was an enormous conspiracy to undermine the very notion of government that serves the people, of free elections. There's never been anything in our history like it, and hopefully there won't be again. But part of the problem, I think, for all of us who have covered this story, we've tried to cover it as a matter of Hillary Clinton's judgment, as a legal matter as well, and at the same time, perhaps we have lost in the process some sense of comparison, and there is no comparison. It's apples and oranges when you start to talk about Watergate and about impeachment of a criminal president of the United States.
Carl Bernstein, Laura Coates, thank you both. Really appreciate it. Coming up.